Hey, Rich.
Yes.
How's it going?
All right.
Good. Going to Delta?
Correct. Thank you.
Okay. Coming from Spectrum News?
Yeah, the cable office upstairs from the news.
Oh, nice. I gotta pay my Spectrum bill tomorrow.
All right.
How long you in town? You just
Just for the day. I flew in this morning. I have a coworker who is in Wisconsin who works for me, and I haven't seen her and need to talk to her about a couple things. So
Oh, nice.
just
man.
as a meeting point. She's in Madison, so she's driving back. And
Oh.
a lot easier to fly here than to Madison in terms of
Yeah.
sort of flight choices.
Yeah.
But
Awesome. Where you coming from?
I live in Connecticut, so I flew from New York.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So,
I got a couple partners in Connecticut.
oh, whereabouts?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know they're music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, producers and musicians. Yeah.
Yeah, the person I was meeting with today, she's basically like the spokesperson for the company in Wisconsin.
Okay.
It's like her job. So we're in a meeting here. We have call center in that building and some other employees.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a convenient spot.
Got you. Nice, man. What do you do, if you don't mind me asking?
So my team are the spokespeople for the company around the country. So if you see someone quoted in the newspaper talking about Spectrum, those are my people. So to
Really?
speak. Yeah. So the lady that I was meeting with here, she's in charge of Wisconsin and a bunch of other states in the Midwest, Missouri.
Yeah.
There's some presence in Minnesota,
Yeah.
a little bit in Minnesota, a little bit in Nebraska, but Wisconsin and Missouri are the two biggest states that she has.
Oh, wow.
And so I have like 10 of her in other places.
Got you.
So.
Would some of the people be some of those on commercials, or?
No, these are more people who would talk to the in like news stories as opposed to the commercials or marketing that you see.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know any of those Spectrum One guys.
Yeah. Tony Baker and
Yeah.
Kev on stage, the comedians, and I'd be like, look at these guys, man. No, that's cool.
Yeah, the people like four floors below me do all that. But they're out at the shoots. Where I am is just like the headquarters office, which is just an office building.
Got you. Awesome, man. Yeah, I've been in television for 15 years now.
Oh yeah, what do you do?
Live production.
Okay.
So I direct. I've directed some TV shows, camera operated, and edit,
Okay.
and I do a lot of voiceovers for commercials as well.
What kind of TV work have you done?
So I've mostly done live broadcasts and Christian, not Christian entertainment, but in Christian television. So there's I started off. I'm originally from Pontiac, Michigan, which is in the Detroit area.
No, I spent half of my life in Farmington Hills.
Really?
My wife is from Renford.
What?
Yeah, my wife.
Oh,
grew
man,
up
get
the
outta
son
here.
of a daughter of a GM worker and
Yep.
Army veteran. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my brother and sister-in-law still live in Redford and Howell, respectively.
Oh,
One of
wow.
my best friends in the world lives in Troy.
Yeah.
We're back there like every summer.
Yep.
Buddies, whatever.
Get
I worked
outta
at the
here.
Oakland Press when I first moved to Michigan.
Really?
Probably. Yeah. I covered high school sports.
Oh, wow.
This is a long time ago. This is like 93, something like that. But
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Man.
you grew up there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Born in Grand Rapids,
Uh-huh.
but was raised in Pontiac.
My wife went to Western in Kalamazoo.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's awesome. man.
Small world.
Yeah. So the TV network that I started off with is a small Christian television network called TCT.
Okay.
So I was there for 5 years. I interned there for 5 years. Went to film school at the Motion Pictures Institute of Michigan in 2008, 2009. Graduated there, opened my film company, and then I started getting subcontracted and independent contracts. Doing TV shows for local churches around the country. And
So were you doing like studio shows or worship or both?
both.
Uh-huh.
So after
And some of those big churches, the worship productions are not small live productions. Those are it's not
absolutely.
like one camera on an altar and maybe a
Right,
second
right.
camera on
man,
a lectern.
we work with 24-foot jibs,
Yep.
and you know what I mean. So I left there and started doing my own thing, filming stage plays throughout local, Detroit. Working on movies, worked on Transformers 5,
Okay.
downtown Detroit, a couple other, independent films, and I left there and I went to another Christian television network in Detroit called The Word Network, and I was there for another 5 years. And you know, I loved the job. I loved it, but I just knew God had so much more for me. And I resigned there on my 30th birthday in 2019. And ever since, man, I've been, filming documentaries, music videos, commercials all around the country. And you know, I love what I do, man. I love to.
So you're just situated here, but you're on the run a lot.
Yeah. So my wife is born and raised here.
Okay.
So that's what brought me here. But since I've been here, I've still been moving about the country, you know, throughout the year, and you know, filming projects and been filming comedy tours, behind the scenes, and all type of, you know, productions, man. So
what do you like best? Music videos or the
movies? Feature films. Feature films. So I love it, man. I just love being on set, and just been grinding, working on movies in Atlanta and just all over the country.
A lot of shoots in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
So Transformers the biggest thing you've worked on?
Yeah, by far. Transformers. I was a production assistant on that movie, helping transfer equipment from scene to scene. So that was pretty cool. So Spectrum is like one of the few, I want to say, networks that have its own channel.
Yeah, we have local news channels in a bunch of our bigger markets. Not all of them by any means, but we have, and some of them are, much longer tenured than the one here. The one here is comparatively new.
Yeah.
But we have channels in New York City, in particular, New York One. So that's the channel you always see, like on a Spider-Man movie at the end when they're covering like something about Spider-Man. We have channels in Tampa and Orlando that used to be part of Bright House Networks before Charter acquired those.
Okay.
Spectrum acquired those. We've got channels in upstate New York and in the North Carolina, and those were Time Warner Cable News channels too that we converted. And then we've got some new ones that we've launched since we were Spectrum after we got Time Warner Cable. So this, Wisconsin is one. We expanded in Texas a little bit. We launched a big news channel in LA, New York One kind of thing. Spectrum News One in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And so on. So it's not quite everywhere, but in a lot of our bigger markets, Ohio.
Gotcha.
And it's a mix of like covering very local things, and usually there's a fair amount of like state government coverage. So in as much as we have a big base here, we've got a bureau or a person over in Madison, obviously, to cover the Capitol and things like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's weird, like I have almost no interaction with that part of the business. I have colleagues who do the public relations work for the networks, and I work pretty exclusively on the cable business, literally like the TV and internet and phone and mobile that we sell you, and how all that is, which is where the vast majority of our employees are. It's the vast majority of like what we do, etc. So,
man, that's.
But
cool.
I've been in cable for a long time. I worked when I lived in Michigan. A big chunk of my professional life there, I worked at Comcast.
Yeah.
For probably 10 years or so. Met my wife there, and then I worked at Time Warner Cable in North Carolina for 5 years, and then when Spectrum bought Time Warner Cable, I got a job in Connecticut.
So Spectrum bought Time Warner?
Yep. Yeah, and Bright House Networks. And Bright House wasn't very big. Bright House had like 3-point-some-odd million customers, almost all of whom were in Central Florida. Okay. They have a few like stray properties elsewhere. They have like Bakersfield, California. They have Birmingham, Alabama. They had well, you'll know this. So they had 5 communities in Metro Detroit. They have Livonia, Redford, Farmington Hills, and Novi. Really? Surrounded on 4 sides by Comcast. Comcast tried to buy it forever, including when I was there. And they never, they were pretty valuable properties and they just couldn't meet the price. Right. So we still own those. And there are just a couple other things, but really like almost all of our Bright House customers were kind of on the I-4 corridor between Tampa and Orlando. Wow, Bright House. I never heard of Bright House. Yeah, it was just, Time Warner owned a piece of it, and the Newhouse family, who has a lot of newspaper and other media interests owned it, and they sold it to Spectrum in 2016.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's funny. Spectrum only had about, I don't know, maybe 5 million or so customers, and Time Warner Cable, we had like well over 10. We were a much bigger company.
Yeah.
But Time Warner Cable was really not owned by a family or anything like that. It was basically owned by investors, pension funds, or, institutional investors, not anyone with a real emotional stake in the cable and internet business. And so when the price was right, the price was right. So that was it.
Wow. That's sweet. I was just literally a week ago looking at, I logged in my Spectrum bill and I saw I was just looking at all the different, everything that it costs, and was just looking at.
So what do you have, if you don't mind me asking, in the way of services?
I have the
TV and internet?
Yeah, TV and internet.
Okay, but no home phone or anything like that?
Right. No home phone.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I have to, because I'm constantly editing videos and uploading video files to YouTube and Dropbox, sending them to clients. I think I have to upgrade to, I just found out about fiber. Does Spectrum offer fiber? I think it do.
We don't in most places. We are in the process though of upgrading our networks to the point at which we'll have symmetrical upload speeds. So right now, if you have our 300 meg service, the upload speeds are only, oh my God, I should know this off the top of my head. I can't remember if it's 10 or 20, but it's very asymmetrical today. But we're going through an upgrade process now, which is pretty. It's significant in the sense that we're doing it everywhere. It's not significant in the sense that it's not going to be disruptive to customers. We don't need to dig up the streets. It's a lot of electronics and kind of behind the scenes work with the frequencies within our network. Sure. Where we'll be able to do 300 over 300 and 600 over 600.
Really?
Yeah. And that's, before too long. I mean, next year and a half, depending on what market or whatever.
Wow.
And that that it's funny because you're actually a very atypical user. The typical internet user uses so much more download than upload, because what are they doing through internet service? They're watching Netflix. They're watching YouTube. Streaming services, and whatever. And then there's this, even if you work from home with an average sort of work from home type job, the stuff you're uploading is modest. Even if you're sending some big presentations or some videos from time to time, you are operating in a sphere of high quality video production and enormous files.
4K.
Where you can email that stuff. It's all, like you say, it's Dropbox or like services. And so you're the kind of customer that can almost suffer a little bit from an upstream standpoint, because the upstream is comparatively modest right now.
So in about a year and a half.
I don't know offhand what the cycle of markets is. It's not like everywhere all at once, but we're working, we're beginning to work everywhere in order to make that happen. Okay. And that'll be something that's automatic. It's not going to be like you're going to have to go, like get a new service or whatever. It's just going to be, we'll automatically launch that.
That's cool. I just called Spectrum, 2 weeks ago when I was doing that research, and I called and I asked, hey, is there a way? My download speed is about, say like when I run a speed test, it'll say like 270, but my upload speed is like 9. And I asked, is there any way I can cut back some upload speed and put it towards my downloads?
You can't really, because the way that works, not to bore you with it, but but the way that works is that there are, sort of within that line coming into your house, and forgive me, you may know some of this, so I don't mean to.
No, you good. No, this is interesting to me.
In that wire, there are, think of them as lanes or channels, not like TV channels, but channels of,
like highway lanes
of spectrum, right? Yeah. And the way networks are architected, it's easy enough comparatively to take something that was utilized for television previously in an analog TV environment where you used to just plug the cable into your TV as opposed to plugging it into a set-top box or a streaming device. where that's a digital signal and it's much more efficient. Analog TV, when you were back in the world where you had channels like, you know, whatever, 2 through 68, those were taking up all the bandwidth coming into your home. Now you can get 300 channels and they don't take half that bandwidth because they're digital. And we've allocated a ton of that space to internet, but on the downstream side, and you can't, the upstream stuff has to live in a certain neighborhood on that wire, so to speak. And I'm no engineer, but that's the best way to explain it as a non-engineer to someone who's technically oriented, but also not an engineer necessarily by training.
Absolutely.
And so, so you can't just flip a lane around like, you know, like you see on some of those highways in Chicago where it's, you know, one way this time and then the other way this time.
Okay.
So what we're doing is moving things around within the network to increase the amount of lanes we have, so to speak, that we can devote to upstream, and therefore it gets dramatically faster. But it's you know, like I say, it's not disruptive. It's really not even expensive to us, but it's a fair amount of work to do it.
I got you. Wow.
Anyway, appreciate your patience in the meantime.
No, man, it's I love to learn, and I have to know. I appreciate you explaining, because I have to know what's going on with technology if I'm going to stay ahead of my industry, which is film and broadcast and live streaming, you know.
All right, awesome work. Man.
Well, I appreciate all the information.
Oh, of course, enjoyed talking with you. Thanks for being a Spectrum customer.
Safe travels now. Take care.
Be well.
All right. Rich.